if you look at my speech, which was prepared last night, I believe, and well done, so my team, I don't know with the help of AI or not, but it's a very nice and friendly AI. And I've been listening to you, so you see what's going to be happening. I'm not going to make a statement, but I'm going to make some closing remarks, if I may. But first of all, I thought I'm very overwhelmed, particularly by the communiqué and what was discussed just now when I came back in, and what I heard yesterday morning when we opened. And to tell you what, I'm feeling very insecure to say something now, because I feel like an imposter. I had not been in the discussions which I had, which were very vibrant, and my colleague came to me and said, James, today it got very political, you know, but things worked out all right. And I thought, oh, great. It became political, and we discussed those things which were controversial. And yes, what is it, Moses? You just said the UK left the room. No, it did not. Here I am. Okay, so I would like to make a couple of private remarks. I would like to say something about our event today and something about GIZ, if I may. And I'll make it painless for you. Okay, where is Chris, our MC? Where are you hiding? Jan, you hadn't been here when I was introduced. I heard how you were introduced, you know, athletic and cyclist and interested in things like that. I was portrayed by Chris as a Scottish drunkard, married to a German. She's half German and half English, but we leave the English out a bit, okay, so my UK friends have left or whatever, but I'm really happy to speak on behalf of Germany in a minute. So that is one of the things I wanted to get rid of when I'm talking about me and my private things. Also, I was really lucky, Jan, to come in here and have the last, the tail end of the discussion. And I think it was also Moses, wasn't it, talking about the Belt and Road approach by the European Union and the idea behind it, not as a project, but the idea behind it. And I really think it was good that we could clarify, that you could clarify it, you know, what it means and what it does not mean. And I like that word Chinophobia, okay, which you brought into it. So I'm a fan of that approach, and I think we need to make jointly use of that particular approach. And I'm technical cooperation. I think Jan will say something about the politics, but I can see when I was a young man in Western Germany, that's where I got to Germany, and I was stationed at Laarbruck Royal Air Force Station, which was then turned into a commercial airport, and it's empty. There are no passengers. You know, Ryanair flies about twice or three times a week, which says infrastructure is not everything. It needs to have something behind it, an idea, how to make those places thrive. You've seen loads of very well-equipped hospitals with laboratories and equipment and everything. If you can't use them, if you don't have the training, if you don't have the people around it, there are these white elephants. Okay, so I think we need to make the Global Gateway work, and yes, it took some time organically to sort of, you know, go through the system, but there are opportunities, I think, for us being the European Union and you as our partners to make it happen. And Jakob, you mentioned those things. These are your projects, Uganda and the ownership, and we put emphasis on the participation. Okay, and I think this is a hallmark of what we do, Germany and the European Union together. Now, I would like to say thank you very much for doing this. It was a stellar event, and all the work you guys put into it. And I have not been around, but the closing remarks and the communique which you did, you know, you touched on so many pain points. That's why I kept writing all the time. You were talking about problems with the registration. Yes, we need to address them. You know, funding, and GIZ is not a donor, and you were quite rightly, Moses, saying, you know, we're backed up by the German government and the European Union. We're an implementer, but we can be as much support as we also a problem, of course, to you when it comes to sustainability. The alternative, there is no alternative to it, to have that conversation and see how can we do it better in future. And I know some of the things which you just said, Moses, also resonate with me. If we measure human existence only in economical terms, we've lost as humanity. So there are some things which can be paid for and some things you can do, and some things just need to be funded, wherever the money comes from, I believe. You also talked about regulation and the perception you have as civil society in Uganda, and also the security concerns. Now, I'll turn back to page 1 in my very orderly speech. When you asked me, you probably don't, so I'll ask myself, James, why Germany? And I would say, you know why? The thing is, Germany wouldn't work without civil society, all right? And we're in a partnership, you know, with Uganda, and those joint projects are, you would like to learn from each other, okay? And I suppose the involvement of civil society in Germany as a country, as a state, is so important. And this time I used AI, but I knew it, of course, by heart before. And there's a survey on CSOs and NGOs in Germany, and the Germans have about 85 million inhabitants, I believe, give or take. And 29 million people in Germany are involved in CSOs and NGOs. Sometimes it's just sports clubs, okay? Sometimes it's a volunteer fire brigade. But sometimes it's also, you know, to hold the government to account, to follow up on investments, where taxes are spent and everything. So, in numbers, it's 39.7% of Germans are somehow involved and participate in NGO activities. And they do things on behalf of the German government, hand in hand with the German government. And there are 26,000 charitable organizations in Germany which do it. And that's how, you know, how the whole country works. Being a Brit, I'm fascinated by that. And if I could encourage you and the Ugandan government just to take a slice of that, we would have a big leap forward. And if we can, as GIZ and the European Union help you along with that, I think it'd be successful and worth a while, the effort of it. I'm going back to the other things. So I said something about the event which we are about to close, and I would like to say thank you very much for that. And GIZ, together with the European Union, we are involved in many aspects of civil society, and I don't want to go through that list which is here, but also when people ask me, James, so what are you doing with our civil society project? I say, okay, so how do you define civil society? And we're everywhere. Somebody said something, beekeepers just now, okay? So we work, civil societies in rural development, in agriculture, in rural energy, in efficiency, but also in accountability and transparency of government and how government functions. And I suppose we are going to be with you for some time to come, about which I'm quite happy, because, as I said, it's also a hallmark of what Germany can offer Uganda. And the gentleman from the ED of the NPA, okay, he had this question, you know, how does it fall in line, what we do, how does it fall in line with the development ideas and agenda of Uganda? And of course, everything we do when we're doing, you know, we're developing the project, I'm looking at Elizabeth now, falls within the NDP4. You know, I wanted to get up yesterday and say, of course, where is that question? Where is the doubt? You know, where do you have that question mark? We do always fall in line with the development goals of the Ugandan government and you as citizens. So, I wonder whether I'll probably not say this. I'll leave this for you. But I think it was important in your communique that you point out the pain points on the one hand, but also and the challenges. But my hint would be, we know the challenges, but what are we doing about it? And I thought, is it coming in your communique? Okay. And you did so. Thank you very much. You were talking about a civil society fund. Why not? Why not think about it? You had a long list of recommendations. We need to look through them, whether they are feasible, practical, or just ideas or whatever. But we'll only get to a result when we discuss and have a discourse about it. You know, some of the ideas need to be discarded, and some of them we can sort of work together on. So I thought that was a really, really successful event and convention over the past 2 days, and I'm really happy. I only see few of you sleeping at the moment, and I promise I'm going to be stopping in a sec. But I can't finish my final remarks without saying thank you very much to you as participants and the CSO organizations which are here. Those government institutions, you know, which stayed with us and joined us, the Uganda National NGO Forum. I really liked your interventions earlier, which I heard, and the National Bureau for NGOs. But also, I would like to say thank you very much, Chris. After I've corrected you, next time you're going to be facilitating an event, you know so much more about me. Okay. But also, I would like to say thank you very much for my team, for the team in the European Union office, you know, for putting this thing together. The back office can't be forgotten. And it's a wonderful experience to be standing here and closing down this event and convention. Although, as I said at the very beginning, I had very little hand in the success of this. I'm just the pretty face of GIZ. But I'm so proud of my colleagues that they put it together. So thank you very much, and all the best for the future. And I'm sure we're going to be meeting again, and you hear one of my boring speeches yet again. Thank you. All right. I like closing events with an embarrassment to myself. Jan, I'm really happy to be working together with you, and we've got very close ties. I also have a lot of respect for your engagement for Uganda, and without getting romantic all about it, can I ask you to come up here and give your final words? How was that, Moses? Was that okay? Thank you.
I cannot refuse you, James, I think.